Alright, part 2. I'm going to make a platform with the fringe. This is a cute fabric that I really liked with a sea theme. My favorite part is it has a pirate on there that I like. So the way I'm going to do this is, again, they're stretched this way, but no stretch this way. So I'm going to make my fringe cut that way. So again, I looked at my fabric, measured it roughly by putting this on here, folding it up and saying, yeah, I got a little fringe on this side, about, I think 2 inches on each side. Said, hey, I need a little this. If it's too long, I can always cut it. If it's too short, then you have problems. So what I did was, I'm going to fold this in half. I didn't cut it perfectly, but that's fine. I want the parrot on top. So I'm going to put this on here like this and say, my fringe needs to go about 2 inches deep, so I'm just going to cut. And the easiest way to cut is just fold this into fourths and realize that you need about cut about 2 inches. I'm all about estimating. You can always do a little short and then make them longer as needed. And I'll cut them little strips about 1 inch apart. So you got 1 inch fringe. Cut it all the way down. Remember, you can always make them longer because it's going to stretch this way. It's easier to make them longer later. If you cut them too short, you kind of, well, then they're too short. Or you cut them too long, you're kind of out of it. So there's my fringe. Sorry if it was out of the video. I want my parrot on top because I think he's cute. Again, this is my platform. It's I think 3 inches by 3 inches. I already drilled the hole in there. Unfortunately, my hole is a little big, so the screw goes in really nicely, but it also falls out really nicely. So next time, smaller screw. This goes in here like this. Kind of eyeball it. Make sure when you stretch it out like this that maybe that my fringe, I think when I stretch out like this, my fringe can go another inch. Just because of the stretch. Otherwise, if you don't stretch it, you know, toes can catch in there. So the fringe, I'm just gonna cut a little bit more on each side. No biggie. Like I said, it was about 1 inch too short. So I'm just gonna cut another inch more. I'm eyeballing it just because I'm too lazy to measure. I don't think the birds really care all that much as long as it's safe. Alright, then to tie it, basically I like a wacky tie, so I'll just make 1 knot and 2 knots. That way it just goes every which way. I think that's cuter. You can do it any way you want. I know Bonsai likes playing with the fringe, so I make the fringe wacky by doing 2 knots. Otherwise you can do other knots that will make it kind of lay a little nicer. If you want, you can add beads, do whatever. Tie little toys to it. Just make sure you tie everything tight so that the birds can't untie it. Because if they untie it, then you have problems. Uh-oh. Oh, see, I didn't tie my fringe right because I forgot this one. So now I have to go back and untie things. Because I magically missed one, so now it's not even. That can happen when you're trying to do things. Alright, let's try to get this even again. And let's try not to miss a fringe. because the way I cut it, there should be equal numbers of fringe for top and bottom. Again, make sure you want to tie these tight. I know this is the boring part because this is a lot knot tying. And usually you don't have to tie this last piece of the fringe because that part you're going to cut off to fold over the end of your platform. What I like to do is do both sides before putting in the platform because again it's going to be tight and it takes some shoving to get in there, but I think it's safer if it's tight. Fleece wise, as I understand it, the anti-pill fleece is going to be the best kind of fleece because you don't get little fuzzies develop that the birds can get into. Otherwise regular fleece will work, but you might get little fuzzy hairballs develop after so many washings. Sometimes not a big problem, personal preference. This is not anti-pill fleece that I'm using right now because of the pattern. They didn't have any cute patterns in the anti-pill, and I really like this pattern. So, last one. And then voila. Here's my pocket with the fringe. And then I'm gonna slip my little board in there. And remember, it looks really small, but there is that stretch to it. And some days I wish I have a third hand. But I have a foot, so I'm gonna use my foot and push and push. And get that over that corner because it's that tight. See? And there's my little pirate birdie, a little deformed because he's stretched out, but he's cute. See? And there's my little fringe on the end. So again, I left the last fringe on the bottom here untied because sometimes you want to cut that off so that you can fold this over a little bit better. In this case, I think everything's tight enough that I'm gonna just leave this on here. And so I'll just tie this. Sometimes if you have enough leftover fabric at the end, you don't want to do that. Kind of create as you go. So I'm gonna tie both sides. It's gonna pull over a little bit here. I'm gonna take my little screw here. Again, this is a stainless steel machine screw or something like that. This goes in here through the hole. If I had drilled the hole tight, it would have been in there already, but it falls out, so it didn't get put in. And again, kind of eyeball where your hole needs to go. It's gonna go about right here. Just a little hole. And then pull tight. And there he goes. Because my screw doesn't stay in, I kind of have to push it from out here to make sure it stays out. And then same with the top. This one I didn't leave as much fabric. A little hole there. Just a tiny hole's all you need. Again, fleece stretches a little bit. And then stretch over onto the screw. And voila! Your stainless steel washers. And then your winged nut. And screw that on. This will go up against the cage. And how cute is that with that little birdie there with the nice fringe for them to play?